first became a member in the same year that Ed Fergal won the U.S. Open. The exact year was 1954, and I stayed at Cedar Brae for 11 years until 1964.
Right.
And then my second coming was in 1982, the fall of 1982. So putting it all together, I think it comes to about 51 years. In Scarborough at that time, the choice was really between Scarborough and Cedar Brae golf clubs. And I would say that it probably came down to a flip of the coin on the part of my granddad, although maybe the fact that my aunt was a member of Cedar Brae had a lot to do with it as well. What I remember from 1954 was how nice the people were and how they really made me feel at home. I remember one time I was walking up to the club, I was walking up Markham Road, come along on the bus to Kingston Road and Markham, and then I was walking up Markham Road. This one day that I was walking up, this large, shiny red Chrysler stopped, and I could hardly believe it. It was the pro.
Wow.
It was Peter Finlayson, and he had stopped to pick me up. I mean, this was a big deal for me. I was a kid, right?
Right.
And here was the pro stopping to pick me up and take me up to the club. And Peter was tall, cigar-smoking guy, a long hitter. He was prominent among Toronto golf pros. Okay, my favorite memory, I guess, of my years at Cedar Brae, or one of them, and this would be in my second coming to Cedar Brae, would be of the people I played with, and in particular one foursome that I played with. Consisted of Howard Preston, Bob Page, who I believe is our oldest active member, and it consisted of George Harrison, who has now passed away. But yeah, the four of us played a couple of times a week for probably about 20 years or so, and I really enjoyed it. They were a great group of guys. And then another good memory that I have is of the old clubhouse, or the clubhouse previous to this one. I remember that dining room, that second floor dining room, and how nice a place that was to eat on a sunny summer afternoon, to take the family up there for dinner and sit and look out at the lawn and the putting green and down the first fairway and so forth. It was just a very nice place to be.
Mm-hmm.
Starting with the old course, the one down at Lawrence and Markham. The first hole went from the clubhouse up toward Lawrence. It was an uphill par 4. And then the second hole came back down to the clubhouse. And what made that nice was that if you didn't like how you started out, you could go back to the first tee, and chances are that you could get right on in those days, right? And play them again. Or you could think of them as a warm-up hole, as warm-up holes, and you play 2 holes that you knew in advance were going to be warm-up holes, and then by the time you got to the first hole again, you were really ready to go. So I remember those 2 holes, and then I remember the 13th hole, which was a par 3 at an elevated tee, and you would hit across the river to the green. And that was the site of my one and only hole-in-one. And here we are, about 60 years later, and it hasn't happened again. On our present course, I like the 4th hole. I like it because, to my way of thinking, you need pretty much of a perfect shot. There's lots of trouble on the left, lots of trouble on the right. If you go too far, you're in a lot of thick grass at the back of the green. If you're a little short, maybe you make it to the green, but you've got maybe a 50-foot putt. So yeah, I think that hole's a real challenge. It calls for a very good golf shot. And then I also like the 10th hole and the 15th hole. And the reason I like them is that they're more in my wheelhouse from the point of view of distance. I've got a chance of getting a realistic chance of getting on into. Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, I like those holes. I think that I have been enjoying the past couple of years more than any of the previous ones, and I think that's a result of my appreciating what we have here. We've got a golf course that sits right beside the Rouge National Park. It's the only urban national park in Canada, and we have the experience of playing down manicured fairways with forests often on either side, and I just think it's a great place to be. And the more I think about it, the more I appreciate it. The more I appreciate it, the more I enjoy it.